Hey, soul survivors, we're going to talk about the conscious, subconscious mind, and also impulsivity. So, when we're trying to think, can the narcissist change? I just watched something from Mental Illness, Lee Hammock, where he says, I am a diagnosed, not self diagnosed narcissist. And to be honest with you, therapy for a narcissist is a waste of time. He says that he's been in for 6 years in therapy. So he's still continually going. A lot of narcissists either won't go, they'll use therapy the wrong way, or they'll drop out, never go, or twist things. So he was honest with the therapist. And so he's going to spousal counseling, marriage counseling, and it's going to be like a lifelong process. So, can the narcissist change? So, I just had 2 crazy days at school, and the narcissist mind is a lot like a narcissist. So this is what's happened. Today it was a crazy day. I got kids running down the hall, screaming, scattered, freaking out. And so I take control of the situation. And it turns out that they had a room clear where they had to get out of the room because one kid got very violent. And we had this extremely aggressive kid that just gets set off instantly. So the subconscious mind, whether it's a narcissist or still some children dealing with struggles while their brain is still developing. They don't know exactly how to control their emotions, so they lash out. And so with the way this kid is he's just told to do something, is something he doesn't want to do, and he'll like lose his cool. He gets extremely physically violent, and it's over the littlest things. And it shouldn't be brought to this great big deal, but the narcissist doesn't want to be controlled. They want to control their narrative. It's their story. They want to create the story the way they want it. Just like this kid, he didn't want his teacher to say that. He wanted his teacher to, I don't know, say, do whatever you want. So when things get out of kilter, they lose their cool. And it's varying degrees on how they can control themselves. They can regurgitate what the rules of society are. I had yesterday, my last class, we didn't even do any art. It was complete discussion because the kids were so unruly, so disrespectful, and it's getting out of control. So I let them take the mic, and they're some really kind kids saying exactly what should be said, that this is unacceptable, this is what we should do. And they're saying, that they're giving me a hard time. And, a lot of kids are like, yeah, you're really nice. And so it doesn't matter how nice you are. It's weird that the sterner you are, the more compliant they will be. That's really hard to do in an adult relationship where you say, go sit down to your husband. Like, we don't want to talk that way. And also, as the narcissist gets older, they don't want to be talked to that way either. So it's a really hard balance. But the subconscious mind is where the problems arise from, that any little trigger brings that trauma back and spews it back out. And I know a lot of times too, they can fabricate stories, just like little kids will fabricate stories. And it's a distorted reality, so we don't even know how to come back with certain things, so we get frustrated, and the whole balance just gets off whack. Just like that little kid, he's probably going to hate his teacher for telling him he can't do what he was supposed to, go against what he's supposed to do. So in the conscious mind, they can think, yeah, this is what we're supposed to do. And the subconscious mind is where their wants and needs are kind of suppressed. And when the conscious mind doesn't match up with the subconscious mind, all heck breaks loose. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, I just had a friend murdered a week and a half ago, and mental illness is real. Like, these kids that have problems, they're fantastic. A lot of times you can have great conversations with them, you can giggle and laugh with them, you can do projects, but when certain triggers go off, that it can be extremely violent, and they lash out at, just like today, they were targets that had nothing to do with the situation. So these kids were harmed, and they weren't even the target. Not that I wanted them targeting the teacher, but she's the one who said what to do. but he just lashed out anywhere. So a lot of times we're like, what is going on? Why does our narcissist do this to us? You're just there. You're the closest in proximity. The kids, he didn't pick which kid to harm. It was just the ones closest in proximity. So when you're dealing with a narcissist and you're in a loving, I'm didn't mean loving, in a relationship, a life partner, that you're the closest one to them. Or if it's, child parent, that's a lot of times the closest in proximity. Those are the ones that are going to get hurt. So the purpose of this is to bring to awareness that you want to be close to an abuser. And we a lot of times think emotionally. We think that if we love this person more, but the relationship with the narcissist is transactional. So just like that kid, when he didn't get what he wanted, he started devaluing the teacher and the situation of a calm classroom and just wanted to dominate. So we get devalued for things that aren't our fault. Like those kids, did they do anything wrong? They didn't do anything wrong. They were just sitting in the classroom, but they became a target. So there's going to be ups and downs in life. But, my friend that was murdered by her husband, or the kids that were targeted today, there are times that somebody dealing with mental illness can be wonderful. They are human beings. That's why, if things aren't going to change, that I say, at least acknowledge them. Like, I'm sorry. I wish things turned out different, but it's not healthy for me. However you want to word it. But I think we should give them some closure as well. Otherwise, you know what it felt like for us when we had the silent treatment. It's just a healthier breakup, but stick to your boundaries. So moving forward, does a narcissist change? Like the kids that act out every day, they will say, yes, today's going to be a great day. Today, I'm going to sit in my seat. Today, I'm going to listen. I'll finish my project. This, they know what they want. And they do want to perform correctly until they don't. And the attention span, the energy level, the quick to triggers are different in people like that. And narcissists are in that childlike state. And there are healthy children, and then there's children that are really struggling. And mental illness is on the rise, stressors are on the rise. So it's just something to be aware of, that when the narcissist doesn't get what they want, they go from the conscious to the subconscious. Whatever is in that subconscious kind of comes out in impulsivity. Just like if you've ever dieted, you know what you need to do. And there's times you get frustrated or sick of it or tempted, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm having some ice cream, or fuck it, I don't care. I just want some chips, and you break your diet. So it's similar to that, where it's easy, just don't eat, or eat some carrots instead. But it's harder said than done. And if you guys can relate to it in a diet type setting, to where, how often have we broken that? We're full head on, I'm going to get in shape. I got my New Year's resolution, whatever it is, that we fail on things like that, things that we want. So for a narcissist, they don't necessarily want to change their personality. We're asking them to, or they need to function in society. And it's not their desire. So it's hard enough when it's your desire. It's even harder when it's not your desire. And then it builds up resentment. I was watching one thing too on this one lady who, she's self-aware that she says, I'm toxic. I will train you to do it, things my way. And she says, I focus on every single person. I focus on at least one negative thing. So I can't be with you. I purposely will search out something negative that I don't like about you. And it could be abandonment issues where she doesn't want to get too close. But she says that she knows what she's doing. She's looking for something not to love. And I'm not saying she's a narcissist. I don't know enough about her, but the narcissist does things like that over time as well. They think it's this great, beautiful, perfect relationship. And then since they see us as objects, there's some devaluation, just like your car will devalue or your house will. Sometimes they appreciate, but devalue in the amount of I got to repaint or fix a roof, those kind of devaluations. And even if you want to look at it in the house aspect, it takes a little work and then it appreciates. The narcissist doesn't want to put the effort in to fix the relationship. They just would rather drop it and find somebody new. And that's really hard to take when you see, as an analogy, that house analogy, like, my goodness, we've already invested this much, so it should have appreciated. We just got to fix it up to have this, so much more worth. There were some damages along the way, but we can fix it. We can get back plus some. But the narcissists, they don't want to put that effort in, just like these kids. Their brain won't let them follow through on what they need to do. And when we start thinking emotionally, we're not thinking logically. And I saw this other thing too. It was biblical, but it's also advice where the woman is to respect her husband and the man is to love the woman. So I know society is changing with gender roles, things like that, but let's go traditional, where the woman respects her husband and the man loves the husband. So in that instance, women are generally a little bit more emotional, a little bit more vocal. So if we respect the man, that he will love us back, when you start developing a relationship. But when we don't feel loved, we could become disrespectful, where it's like, fine, you don't want to snuggle with me, I'm not going to make you dinner. Or there's that back and forth type stuff where you try for the longest time and eventually you're like, screw this, we don't feel loved. That's when we get disrespectful. Or if the man doesn't feel loved, where we're maternal-ish, taking care of certain things that traditional women do, that resentment picks up, and so they start to withdraw from us. So there is a balance between the subconscious and conscious mind. There's cold and hard empathy. So I'm sorry, cold and warm empathy, where as super empaths or empathetic people, we are the warm empaths, where we connect the feeling. The cold empath connects the logic to it. So just like those kids at school, today's going to be a great day. Today I'm going to follow the rules. That's that cold empathy. They're not going to be like, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? How is Miss Schiller going to feel? How are the other kids going to feel if I don't follow along? But they can coldly see it. And from the warmth of love, they don't. And therapy a lot of times will the narcissist will try to control that situation too, and lie. And I see the kids like they think I'm Mrs. Claus. But I was joking around with them and I'm like, okay, let's do the Santa cam where I can see who's lying. And I did it to look at their facial expressions, part of it, so I can kind of relate that guy back to you guys. I can't show the kids because they're kids, but just the way that they look, the movement of their eyes, the fidgeting, the word choice, I don't know, I'm not sure, and certain things, it's narcissistic, they don't want to take accountability. And you deserve a grown-up to be with. You deserve to be loved too, especially if you're a parent, single parent, or wanting a true connection with someone. There's differences between relationships with children and having a grown-up relationship. And it's nice to have both. You get to raise your family and have a support system. But we're just raising children. We don't have the support. So I just thought it was interesting. Please like and subscribe. made it through the day. It was a crazy day with that room clear, but take a look at what's safe for you, because those triggers can come out of nowhere. And those triggers, like I said, those kids, they ended up being targets and they did nothing wrong. So stay safe, and I will see you soon. Have a good night.